And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And Vernon, let us know when you can see my screen, because at that same point, Nicole should be able to see the screen as well.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's go to that one.
I can see your screen.
Okay. So, and this is basically going to be a training video that shows you how to log in, how to use the judicial case search for course use you can use with your VAs. First thing you want to do is have your VA do a search for judicial case search. And most of the time, it's going to be right here at the top of the screen. It'll say Maryland Judicial Case Search. They click on that. And this is the screen that comes up. The first thing they have to do is basically just agree to the terms of service. I have read, and click continue. Now, this is probably the most difficult part in the process. And that's basically what actual information do you put in these fields. When we do what's called an open query, all we're doing is putting in the actual percentage sign. Let me start off by saying you want to start off with it being a person as opposed to a company.
Okay.
And then you want to put in a percentage sign. And then you can go straight down to the next section. Party type, you want to use defendant. All cases, I can usually do this. What I would normally put in here would be civil.
Okay.
And you have both circuit and district court. Leave that as the default. Where it says county type, whatever city or state you want, whatever city or county you want to search. And in this case, we're going to say Baltimore City.
Okay.
Now, date range, the further the date is out, the more records, but it would only give you a total of 500 records at a time. So ideally, you may want to do a search based on one day. For example, 1 to 2 days most. Let's say January, and I'm going to go back because we know what's going on with the system right now. But normally it would be a recent date. Let's say January the 6th to January. It can either be 7th or 8th. For this example, I'm just going to say 7th.
Okay.
And then the next thing you'll do is just hit search. So basically all you've done was select person, put a percentage sign in the last name position. Party type will be defendant. Actual case type will be civil. Court system will be both circuit and district. County is whatever city you want to search. And date range, you can do 1 to 2 days as a date range. Okay. And then you just hit search. Now it's going to pull up all the records. And this is the most tedious part in the process, understanding what these different things are. The first thing we usually do is click on case type so we can put it in alphabetical order.
Gotcha.
And then now you just want to go through the cases based on the actual case type that you're interested in. For example, BROL, that means breach of lease. That's somebody that is basically in violation of their lease. Could be for non-payment. It could also be involved with anything else with their lease. Maybe they got a pet in the property and they wasn't supposed to. They didn't pay water bill, or they're holding over longer than what they're supposed to. So all of that falls underneath a breach of lease.
Okay.
Now, when you click on it, normally you want to click on all cases that are active. You notice the case status here is closed. So this one wouldn't make sense for us to go after because it's closed. The key thing we want is open active or active cases.
Gotcha.
So ideally, we're looking for open active or active cases. If you go further down, this is the case number. If you're familiar with PropStream, this is the number that you're going to see in PropStream when it says case number or type of issue inside of PropStream. When you're using PropStream in correlation with this, you're going to put a 0 in front of this. So I don't want to confuse you guys by going into how you can backtrack what's in PropStream inside of here. But just keep that in mind. PropStream usually doesn't have the 0 that usually is in front of this.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, let's go ahead, and what the part that your actual VA has to do is just go to each case number based on the case type we're looking at, and look at that case one. So this is a contract case. Contract case could be a judgment. So we could look at this one as one of the ones we want to search. So I would click on the actual case number, pull it up, and this is all the case information. If you notice, it has broken down based on the District Court of Baltimore civil system. Here's your case number, and here's your case type. A lot of time, the case type is going to tell you the name of actually what the case is. And this is a contract case. It's a regular claim. And if you scroll down to the right of this section here, you'll see the actual amount of the claim, $3,107.
Mm-hmm.
So the higher the amount is, you can use a barometer and say, well, this person may be more likely wanting to sell or not to sell because of this issue. Contract cases have not been the best source for us, but it is a source. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Hey, Charles.
Yes.
Right over top of the, when you go back to, you can go back to the previous screen where the,
okay.
Right over top of that contract, well, not right up, two above that contract, when you just clicked on, it says complaint for ejectment. Is that?
Yep. That's exactly what you think it is. That's exactly for a person being evicted.
Okay.
Yep. I didn't notice that, but yes, that is a person being evicted. And just to give you a look of what it is, if you look at a complaint for ejectment, this is the actual plaintiff is the person who's filing for ejected, G.H. Goldberg, LLC, and the actual defendant is Spencer Road, Rhonda A.M. at 4108 Colburn Road.
Gotcha.
So that's the actual property. Mm-hmm.
So in this case, we would go after the plaintiff. We will reach out to the plaintiff about that property on Colburn Road in Baltimore. You
got it, my brother.
Okay.
That's all you're doing. You're reaching out to the actual plaintiff to see if they're interested in selling their property on Colbert Road.
Got it. Okay.
So I'm going to continue to go until I see the next case type that I'm interested in. These are still contracts. So like I said, I'm going to go past the contract. Everything revolves around the case type. So your VA will continue to go down to the line until they get to the next case type that meets our guidelines. This is a custody in regards to custody to individuals. So you don't need to worry about that case type. You got divorce absolute. Remember we talked about this. Yep. This is ideally you want the one where the actual plaintiff and the actual defendant lives in the same house. And of course, the way you would tell that is by looking at it and seeing exact list custody. Here we go. Divorce. Right here. Alexander I4 and Turt Robinson. You can see they was married because they got the same names right here. Robinson.
Yep.
The plaintiff is 160. Yeah, they're not living in the same house. Okay. Plaintiff live here and the defendant lives here. Now, like I said, ideally, you're going to want it to be where they're both living in the same property. Can you still market it this way? Yes, you can, because this could be a situation where the person who was living in the house maybe moved into an apartment or moved with a family member. And now this person that's the defendant has to make this payment all on their own. So you still could go at that direction, but I've found the most success is when they're still living in the same property. Now, think about this though. Most people that's filing for divorce don't stay in the same property. Exactly. So if you're looking at the law of averages, you're going to have the situation where a large majority of these is going to be people that are not living in the same property.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm going to go to the next realm. 8. Here we go. Now we get into the good stuff. foreclosure. F-O-R-C is foreclosure, and then you also have it written out as foreclosure. So district court, foreclosure, active. Place type, this says forcible entry and detainer. Why is it saying that underneath a foreclosure? Not sure why it's saying that. Judgment entered, all complaint, all occupants, defendant. Here we go, mortgage, plaintiff. There we go, initial. A lot of times you can even find on here, the actual remaining balance on the mortgage.
If this is closed, would it show it?
Yeah, because it would say active or closed. You see?
Yeah.
And here's another one. Foreclosure, plaintiff, defendant, address 3624, which is the 3647. And there you go. 3647 Avenue, $304,087.
Gotcha.
Now, what you can do in this one, if you know that the actual balance is that dollar amount, you could have your VA check and see the dollar amount based on what the value is to see if there's equity there.
Okay.
Because you know the dollar amount that's owed is $304,087. Mm-hmm. So is the property worth 310? Is it worth 320? That's how this goes into play.
Gotcha.
Let's pull another one of those. Here we go. Here's one at 264 North Hilton Street, $66,000 what's owed. Trustee, in Maryland, we use trustees to execute the foreclosure. And that's what this is, the trustee information.
Yeah.
Ah, damn. Let's go up. Let me find that plaintiff, trustee, defendant right here. 264 North Hilton Street, Baltimore, Maryland. Property address 264. So you can see if it was a different address, you would have a different address here.
Got you. And
that means
who's the plaintiff in this one?
The plaintiff in this one is court system.
I see it. Carrie Ward.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. Okay.
Curry and Ward versus Denise yada yada.
Got you.
Okay, so let's go to the next one. Foreclosure right of redemption. These are tax sales where the person bought the tax sale certificate and now they're filing for foreclosure for tax sale. Click on that. Foreclosure right of redemption. Of course, you got the plaintiff. You got the defendant with the address. You got the property address. On this one, you have a property address that's different from the defendant address. So this is the property that they're trying to foreclose on, and this is the defendant, where they live.
Got it.
Now, you will always see this. You see it? Tax foreclosure.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's filing for taxes.
Okay. And does this show the amount?
No.
Okay.
Now, no, it doesn't show the amount. You would have to get that information from the actual owner of the property. I'm not sure if it's in the daily record. I can't recall. I don't ever recall seeing the actual amount in the daily record either, because all of these all this information has to be published in the daily record as well. but I don't recall ever seeing the tax amount of the foreclosure that's being handled this. No.
So just to
Go ahead.
run, based on this, that last example, tax foreclosure, that's a process where the house was sold at tax auction or tax sale. I think they auction those off, right?
Well, they auction the tax sale certificate. And this is how that process works. In Maryland, the tax amount, I can't recall, it's either 18% or 24% return on your dollar amount. I'm going to lean towards the 24% because Maryland has one of the highest tax sale redemption amounts that you can get in the country. That's why a lot of investors come to Maryland to buy their tax sale certificates, because most investors, what they want to do is, the process is you don't pay your taxes. They put it up for tax sale at a local auction. The auction occurs. The person bids for the tax sale auction certificate. They win it. And if they win it, whatever that amount that's owed, you have to pay that person an additional 24%. So let's say it's $1,000. So if the person who wins it goes back to the seller and say, okay, I bought your tax sale, I bought your tax certificate on this property, you got to pay the dollar amount of your taxes, plus you got to pay an additional 24%, plus you have to pay attorney fees. So that's why a lot of people invest in Maryland tax sales, because it's about 24% interest they get on buying the certificate.
Gotcha. Now, do you find oftentimes the mortgage company, if there is a mortgage, pays that?
Oftentimes there is. So I would say about 80% of the time, maybe even 90% of the time, the mortgage company, if there is a mortgage, will pay it. However, there have been situations where it slipped through the crack and the mortgage company was not aware of it because it went to this holding company, to this holding company, to this holding company, meaning the loan was sold from one person to somebody else, to something on Wall Street, and it was packaged with a different bank loans and so on. So there are situations where the person is notified, but because of whatever the issue is with the mortgage company that's servicing it, they didn't get the notification, and investors have been able to buy it, even though it was a mortgage on it, and foreclosed on that mortgage, and the mortgage company loses everything.
Got it. Okay.
So that's the reason why it's a safe bet for the investor, because at the very least, well, let's say at the best, the mortgage company may pay it and just charge it to the actual seller, or if it's free and clear, the person may not pay it, and the person who's buying the tax lien, they may get the house. Most people who do this game don't go in it for the house. Most of the time, they're going in it for the 18 to 24% interest rate.
Gotcha. So last question. For example, let's say there's a tax sale for the certificate is $4,000, but the house has $80,000 mortgage on it. Now you foreclose. Let's say the mortgage company servicer doesn't.
If you foreclose on that, it wipes out the mortgage.
So you get the house for the $4,000?
Yes.
Wow.
It wipes out the mortgage.
So that sale, is precedent to the mortgage. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yes, it is.
Okay, good to know.
Okay, let's see what else. Any other questions regarding the tax redemption? Foreclosure right of redemption?
No, that's it.
Okay, let's go to the next one. You see all these foreclosure right of redemptions. It's a boatload of them. Okay, let's see what this one is. I'm curious about this one. It says FRGN. That's foreclosure right of redemption too.
Okay.
Normally, when you look at case type, it would give you what that abbreviation stands for most of the time. If you don't understand a case type, all you got to do is just hit copy, like I'm doing right here, and just do a Google search. of that actual case type and that actual name. And it tells you what it stands for.
Gotcha. Okay.
$13. Now, lead paint. These people right here are being foreclosed on, not foreclosed on, they're being sued for lead paint.
Mm.
You skip motor tort. You skip paternity. You can skip peace order. Now, peace order. Now, when you see right here, RESC, guess what that stands for?
Not sure.
Rent escrow.
Oh, okay.
That means the person is filing for escrow to put their money in escrow. Motivation. The tenant is filing to put their money in escrow because they got an issue with the landlord.
Oh, so basically they're putting money in escrow, not paying it to the landlord, but they're setting it aside.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
It could be motivation. Okay, let's see what REST is. Restitution. Somebody got to pay restitution.
Okay.
Now, guess what TNHO means?
I think I just saw it. Tenant holding.
I know, you did. Tenant holding over.
So that's when the tenant is in the property longer than the lease.
Exactly.
That's
so
what I'm going through right now.
Yeah, there's you may be motivated.
Yeah. Do you know if just general question in regards to that? Do you know if you know in Baltimore City you have to get the property the certificate number I guess redone every year, updated every year?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if that has to be updated in order to evict someone who's on a tenant holdover?
Yes, because what's going to happen, and here's one thing about Baltimore City law, and this is a way the person can get around a tenant holdover. A lot of landlords don't know this. If the tenant has filed for some kind of escrow with you, and let's say 2 months later you file for tenant holdover, or the tenant filed a complaint against you, and 2 months later you file for a tenant holdover, you can't evict that person because it's considered a retaliation effect. You have to wait 6 months.
Wow.
Until you're able to evict that person. Now, if tenants knew this, all they had to do was just to file to put their money in escrow or to file a complaint against you because something not being done in the property. And every tenant, and this is in Maryland,
wow,
every tenant could stop you from evicting them for 6 months. Because the court system looks at that as a retaliation effect on you, retaliating against that person because 2 months ago they took you to court.
Gotcha. But it has to happen in that order. They have to put the money in escrow, file it, and then file a complaint, and then.
Well, all they have to do is file it. All they have to do is put the money in escrow. That automatically triggers it.
Okay, put the money in escrow, file a complaint, and then the eviction after that. That's how it works.
Well, the way it would work is, let's say, it's right now, and it's April. And that tenant says, you know what, the heat isn't on, and the heat haven't been working for a week now. I'm going to put my money in escrow. So you say, okay, no problem. They file and put their money in escrow. They win that situation with the escrow, and you, as the landlord, no matter what happens, you can't evict that person for 6 months after April. So you have to wait 6 months past that date of that escrow to evict that tenant.
But all that money they are putting in escrow comes back to you though at that 6 months.
Yeah, well, let's put it like this. You could fix the issue and you can get the money back that next month. But if you wanted to file eviction on that person, you have to wait 6 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yes, they would normally pay that money as soon as you take care of the issue and report the issue being done and it's verified that the issue is has been done. So you'll get that money right away, but you still can't evict that person because of the fact that they look at it as a retaliatory effect from you going after that person because they put money in escrow. So they want you to have a moratorium of evicting that person for 6 whole months.
Wow. Okay. That's scary.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. So that's what it is. Tenant holdover. Tort you skip, tort you skip, tort you skip, and you're done.
Okay.
Any questions?
So in most of these cases, we're going to be looking at the plaintiff's name for the person we're reaching out to, but the defendant's address, because that's more than likely where that plaintiff's property, that's probably the address of the plaintiff.
Correct. So the plaintiff is the person who's filing the suit. The defendant is the person who is actually being sued or the suit is against.
Gotcha. Okay.
Any other questions?
I don't know if I think Nicole just sent one.
Now, the main thing here, guys, is copying and pasting all this information that you need onto a spreadsheet. The reason why you don't want to use their version right here, because when you download their version, it doesn't have addresses on it.
Oh, when you download this, it doesn't have the addresses?
No, there's no addresses on it.
Oh.
It's just basically the information, the name, and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Because right on this screen, it doesn't have it.
Right. So what you're going to do is basically click in each record and have your person copy the case type, have your person copy the plaintiff information, have your person count the defendant information.
Got you.
That's
okay.
it. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, this is tedious.
I know.
Yeah, this is something we can have the.
There's no way in the world you would be wanting to do this. You said Nicole had a question?
I could do this maybe a week after I know myself. Unless I got a really hot lead in that first week, my motivation would slow down. But yeah, this is something that we can definitely have our VA do. And
I would say that your main ones that you want to go after is foreclosure, and of course right of redemption, divorce, breach of lease. Those are going to be your main ones. Now you can also throw in there the rent escrow, but those are going to be your 4 main runs.
Gotcha. Okay.
Tenant holdover goes with breach of lease.
Gotcha.
So you said Nicole didn't have a question?
She did, but it was answered. He had asked about downloading the information. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think this would be really something really big that we definitely go after. Because do you find that this information, in comparison to PropStream, is?
I know where you're going at. Absolutely. This is literally 1 or 2 days after the filing. PropStream can be up to 30 days.
Gotcha. Okay. So that was my concern, because Nicole and I use PropStream, but I notice as more and more people use PropStream, the competition gets thicker, and it'll be 20, 30, 40 people calling the same number. I think our focus should be on finding this same information 2 to 3 weeks, even 4 weeks before.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%.
Okay. So yeah, we're going to attempt to find this information for DC as well. This is really good for Maryland, Baltimore City County, and then Prince George's County. But DC, I think, will be also, since we're in DC. Okay. This is really helpful. And Nicole, I don't know if you have any more questions, but I'm good.
And what I will do, I would upload the video to my YouTube channel and make it unlisted and then send you guys the link.
Okay. I appreciate it.
No problem. And then you could if you want to, you can download the video. There's a website that lets you download any YouTube video you want. You want me to send you that information.
Yeah, that'll be good too.
Yeah, it's a free website, and you just put in the actual link to the video, and you can download it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it.
Okay, let me go here. Oh, that's right. I got to stop the share first. Let's bring it up. There you go. Stop sharing. Okay, and let's stop recording.